Would you like to communicate with someone on the spiritual realm? Maybe civilizations outside the Earth? Are you awake for new possibilities? If you want to learn more about these subjects, this video is for you. Stay tuned.
My name is Gus Zanchini and welcome to this channel.
Today's video, we are talking about the fractal communication, what I believe to be the best approach to study paranormal subjects.
The main goal here is helping you to have a life-changing experience.
I am not selling you anything. All this content is opened to the public,
Free of any charge. And by the end, I'm sharing my contact. And I will personally answer all your messages. And I'm pleased to assist you any way I can.
I kindly ask you to return the favor, following me on social media, hit the like button, and subscribe to the channel. I appreciate your help.
That said, we are diving into content, shall we?
What is fractal communication? It's a non-verbal type of communication that takes place on paranormal phenomena, such as mediumship, telepathy, telekinesis, and also reported on many alien abduction cases. I believe this type of communication is abundant on nature, and even our pets might be communicating this way. The fact is, we wish it or not, it's happening, and the tricky part is if you are aware of it or not. The whole process happens in the conscious mind and in our spiritual bodies. A fractal energy is received, it's read, translated, and brought to our conscious mind through symbols so we are able to decode the message.
Still spaced out. I'll try to break down the whole process to make sure you understand it. Pay attention now so you get the results you're looking for, okay?
Fractals are these energies that have a form that repeats itself. These energy forms are loaded with information.
All our thoughts, feelings, and emotions are generating fractals.
The hologram-shaped energy is projected throughout the space, carrying data. It is captured on our spiritual bodies, still unconscious to us once we live in a dark time. I intend to talk about these bodies and darkness we're living in other videos on this channel. The bodies send the message through the unconscious mind. It's the same process Freud described it as the interpretation of dreams. He has shown us more than a century ago. So Freud brings us the concept of an inconscient mind. It's a fascinating story and I love everything about it. We could talk about it for hours, but long story short, the inconscious is the place where we store all our memories, beliefs, our deepest emotions, fears, desires, happiness, everything it's safely kept down there. I believe we are allowed to say that 95% of our mind is unconscious. Just think about that. That's the same proportion of the universe we understand. Actually, we only know 5% of the universe. We still don't know 95% of the universe. Dark matter, dark energy. And it's the same about the ocean. It'll be an amazing coincidence, but that's almost all we know of planet Earth. Just saying. Back to the unconscious. All of our experiences are added to an emotional charge. It might be positive or negative. They form a memory which will then be stored deep down the unconscious mind. That makes the unconscious a tangle of memories. And listen carefully. Freud said that those memories are timeless. They keep existing as if they were happening all the time.
Sometimes what it takes is just one memory. So it brings back another and another and another. Once they have the same features, details, symbols, emotional charge, and the whole shebang.
That's why this part of us can be considered chaotic. Nevertheless, it has a filter, protecting us from chaos. Concerning our memories, it's on the tiny little details. Things can get tricky and very interesting. Consciously, we are only aware of 5% of the world. The other 95% left, we are not aware of it. That's where the big filter is food.
How so? Food?
I'll give you an example. Let's just say you were upset with a situation at work. It made you mad, very angry. Our conscious mind remembers the main theme of the situation. However, it's on the tiny little details that our mind tricks us. Let's just say you were at your office when you received bad news. The tiny little details would be your beverage that day, your clothing, your shoes, how tight were your socks that day, the pens on your desk, what was on your screen, what was out the window, what was the weather like, the furniture, the papers, the books on your desk. As you might have noticed, is that we have a lot of elements on a memory that we are not aware of, and these fragments of memories are also storage on our subconscious. Let's assume, for instance, you want to forget what upset you that day, so you want to clear your mind, direct the focus somewhere else. Maybe you're gonna have some tea, have a massage. However, the main situation, the one that really upset you that day, is not okay deep inside of you. Then, well, this part of your mind will say, hey, there's something that needs to be fixed. And how does it work? Actually, we all have a filter between the conscious and the unconscious. The trick lies on the symbols involving the memories. Freud says the dreams may reveal those conflicts. When you dream, you don't dream with an argue or bad news that made you really mad that day. Instead, symbols of that day is connected to your memory and will constantly appear on your dreams, like the beverage you were drinking, the clothing you were wearing, the objects on your table, the furniture, every little details you were not aware of. So we need to watch and be aware of our thoughts so we understand what goes down deep inside of us. Just think about it. There is another psychoanalysis theory, this time brought to us by the French scientist Jacques Lacan. As we realized so far, our experiences are unique. Nobody experienced life the same way as you did. That makes the words have different meaning for each one of us. If we ask around the meaning of the word apple, we might get this result: brand, mobile, high-tech, forbidden fruit, sin, juicy, lovely, terrible, love, and hate. What does apple mean to you? There's no right or wrong to the question. It hits us differently. Once everybody had a different experience with apples. If you had a bad experience eating apples, maybe you choked, maybe you didn't like the taste, or maybe it was a lovely experience, one of the happiest memory of your life with somebody you loved. If we think the word apple as a symbol, we may get a bad or good meaning depending on your experience with apples. Things get a lot more tricky when you have words like money, family, love, sex, business, work, among others. That means hardly ever we are talking about the same thing, and understanding each other is almost like a miracle. How is it possible then, getting an open communication with another civilization or talking to our dear ones who passed away, if we don't get to understand each other while we are down here on Earth?
Well, to explain it, I'd like to bring you concepts of quantum physics and energetics.
Everything we live, we feel, we intend, we talk about it, we wish. Whatever our emotions are, whatever we energize, it creates an energy. This energy has a shape, a form, and a structure. Remember the fractals we were talking about? Exactly. These fractals carry information to the environment you're in. That's why it's quite easy for us to read what people are feeling.
The right interpretation of these factors depends on how much we know ourselves.
Let's assume someone near you is sad and vibrating sadness. Wherever this person goes, from this sadness, a fractal of sadness will be created and spread all over the environment. Eventually, somebody will receive the message coming from the sad one, right on their unconscious, where it will be decoded. Without even this person who got the message realizes, the receiver will be confused, and then thoughts, emotions will pop up in the receiver's head. Like out of the blue, sad memories will be brought to the receiver's mind. If the receiver is not aware and has no idea where these thoughts are coming from, and not sure these thoughts are not coming from him and they're just coming from someone else, somewhere else, the receiver may assume he is sad, what will mess his head around. However, if the receiver is aware of what's going on deep down his mind, he or she will be able to identify where the sadness is coming from and help the sad one, or at least doesn't be taken from sadness, like that's not on my business, and move forward.
That's how we are able to understand each other. The more control I have over my thoughts, the more I'm able to read the message from the outside. Doesn't matter if you're near or far, everybody's connected, we wish it or not.
If someone you're thinking of is miles away, the energy travels at the quantum of the thought faster than the speed of light and will reach its destiny sooner than you think. All of us are connected and creating an impact on each other's life. You wish it or not, you believe it or not, we are all connected.
Living, dead, earthlings, extraterrestrial, nature, and many other creatures. There's just one creator, and that, my friend, brings us all together.
From now on, I suggest you to really watch your thoughts. Are they really yours? If not, where did you get it from? Who's trying to communicate with you? What message does your unconscious is trying to send you? Maybe you'll realize that 90% of thoughts are not actually yours. They come from memories or outside sources.
That's how paranormal communication is actually more common than we like to think it is. It's happening all the time and everywhere. And as a matter of fact, I believe it's hard to find somebody who has never had an experience about that. And the reason why is because it's part of our nature.
Well, some say the universe can be explained in numbers, physics, mathematics. However, those are how we approach nature. Other civilizations may not have the same methods. Feelings, emotions, and our spirit, our soul, is actually what brings every creature together. That's what we share with our brothers who have not formally introduced to us, but waiting they remain for us to give the first step. Besides, there are rules for this to happen, and I would like to share on another video. Please subscribe to the channel so you get notified when new material comes up.
Well, now it's time to roll up our sleeves and practice. I wonder at this point, you're convinced that paranormal communication is more normal and more common than you have ever imagined. And before this exercise, I would like you to have something very clear.
Your goal, what is it? Would you like to talk to a galactic brother, a dear one who passed away, your spiritual mentor? Maybe you're looking for guidelines. What is your purpose contacting these beings?
Just in case you still haven't any open contact yet, let's try this method so we can decode whatever message you are receiving, alright?
So we are starting by making yourself comfortable. Sit or lay down. Remember, sometimes when you lay down, you sleep and you don't want that. Control your breathing. There are 100 ways of controlling breath online. Pick one you're most comfortable with. Please clear your chakras and mind from every disturbing thought. Once you feel your mind is clear, ask your spiritual mentors to take you to contact whoever you want to contact. And from this point, no judgment. You will receive the first pictures in your mentor screen. Try to visualize it. What emotions does it bring? What are the symbols? What are the sensations? Does it have a smell? A sound? Just let it flow. Write down every element, okay? Decode the message. What did it mean to you? It's important not to be afraid. Spirits and ETs are beings like you and me, and we all have a spiritual path ahead of us. Enjoy the experience.
Send me your questions or any comment you might have in the comment section. Or if you want more, I'll leave my contact details just right here. We like to use WhatsApp so you can send me your message. It will take me a while, but I answer everyone. And by the way, I'm the one who replies. I don't have a team that does it for me. So please be patient.
If you have problems applying this technique, send me a message. We'll see what can be done in your case. Maybe we arrange a call to unblock whatever needs to be unblocked.
The purpose here is for you to get the results. All this information is available free of charge. And I do hope in some way I helped you. Step by step in this eternal awakening of our consciousness. The whole world is going through a phase where it will be needed. And that's my way of helping. Hope to see you in my next video. My name is Gustavo Zanchini. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. God bless you.